Hello there. It is Monday morning, and I had the sheet in place, but apparently, yeah, I don't eat a lot. I had the sheet in place, and apparently, I need the board up there too. I mean, if I put the board and the sheet up there, then the light would not be streaming through. And yesterday was a lot of fun. It's like the highlight of my day was kicking the cord to my lamp, spilling my coffee, and knocking my lamp into the wall, breaking the top of it and the bulb. And the bulb like broke at the base. And it's one of those lamps that has mm, like a bowl shaped open plastic thing. And I liked it because I could have it on and it was above my TV, so I wouldn't get glare from my TV. I'm gonna try to ignore my stomach and all the noises it's making, but I had a very rough day yesterday. And like I said, that was the highlight of my day. I was like, I don't give a fuck about the half cup of coffee on the floor or the lamp broken and shattered on the floor. Because for some reason the plastic broke like glass. I don't know. It's not a very expensive lamp, so I don't really care. Except for that, it'll be annoying to buy another one. But yeah, I was sick all day yesterday, and I don't feel great today. Um, what my deal is, I don't know. I woke up like with a headache yesterday, and it like dozed off and on all day. Wasn't running a fever or anything. I don't know what was wrong with me. Except for that, I didn't want to eat, and I just felt sick all day, and I don't feel good today. But the main reason I'm on here bothering you is I had said something about televising, we'll call it, my appointment where I was talking to my new psychiatric nurse. But I ended up canceling that for the reason that I don't have a psychologist now because I had a psychologist that I was talking to. Not really, it's just a conversation. It's not really going to do me any good. But what happened is the day that the dude called, it's like I had to go to the bathroom exactly when he called. So I missed his phone call. And I got a voicemail from him saying, like, call me back. And by the time I called him back, he had moved on to somebody else. So I left him a message, via text, like, we can reschedule. Sorry I missed the appointment, and just call me. He never texted me back, and I'm like, you know, he was kind of like, he was kind of like, don't think you really need this. And it's up to you if you want to talk to me or not. He just didn't care about it one way or another. So I never like bothered him again. Like, why should I chase after him? I am curious about, like, because his wife just had knee replacement surgery, so I was curious about how his wife was recovering more than anything else. There's really nothing anybody can do to help me as far as talking to a psychologist. It's like yeah, it's not really. I had psychologists like come here and stuff. It doesn't help because I can talk out my problems on here. It's just as long as you're talking out your problems and expressing yourself. The feedback they give is not particularly useful anyway because I'm an alien. I'm dealing with problems that other people can't relate to. Like, most people can wear shirts comfortably, and most people don't have uh, murderers for fathers and have these crazy family situations and stuff. So they really can't help me with that kind of a thing anyway. I remember the one person came to my house for like months and months. Her name was Emily, and she was in her mid 20s, and she said maybe one or two useful things, and they're not things that couldn't have thought of myself, but like one or two useful things over months of therapy. I think one of them was like, you hold people to too high of a standard. And it's like, yeah, okay. And I forget what the other one thing she said was, but I was like, yeah, she said like two things that were useful. She mostly just sit and listen. You know, this guy is older and stuff, but he doesn't seem any wiser necessarily. I only talked to him like two or three times. Um, you know, there's not much anybody can tell me in my situation. Uh, as far as like self-examination, I have too much time for that anyway. So I've been spending a lot of time thinking about like, yeah, maybe it's me. You know, I always look at myself. I'm like, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm a guy with the ego problem, and like, maybe I need to like resolve these family dilemmas and stuff, and not try to fix them and stuff. And it's like, you can't do that. You know, you're just gonna throw yourself into the same situation that you did before. Because I was like, my sister's been preying on my mind a lot lately, so I'm like, well, maybe I can fix that, and that would make me better. And I'm like, no, I tried to do that like 3 years ago, and look how it turned out. It's like you're not going to be able to fix that. It's like she probably wants it this way, and she, you know, at least subconsciously, she probably wanted to kick you to the curb because she told me like sometime um, after my parents, our parents' death, that um, she couldn't handle the loss of another person she loved. So she, I talked about this with psychologists and psychiatrists and psychiatric nurses and whatnot, and it's like she probably did a preemptive strike in order not to lose me. She lost me on her terms and kicked me to the curb. You know, that way she has control of the situation. She's no longer emotionally invested in me, and you know, she's not getting in any deeper. She just pushes me away, and then you know, puts it on me as far as like, yeah, I don't know why he tripping type of thing. Everything's irritating me this morning as far as that dog barking, which you may or may not be able to hear. It's like highly irritable. But no, I kind of look at myself, and you know, be harsh with myself. It's like how much of this is like an ego thing with you. It's like how much of this can you are you doing to yourself? And it's like, no, no, these relationships that dissolved, they were a long time coming. I mean, all that stuff was a long time coming. I had that conversation with my sister before when I was waiting for the arthritis diagnosis, where I was like, look, don't treat me like that because it makes me sick. You know, it actually makes me sick. It's like either she didn't understand it, didn't want to understand it, or didn't care and wanted to act how she wanted to act, or she was pushing me away on purpose. It's like if you tell somebody, like, look, if you do that, it's going to hurt me and make me sick physically in no uncertain terms, and they turn around and do that thing that you told them about, all you can do is tell them. So, how is that my fault? You know, how can I fix a situation like that? And why would I put myself in harm's way again when they didn't listen to you the first time, and then you know, they hung up on you when you were waiting for a rheumatoid arthritis diagnosis because you weren't letting them talk. And then you told them, like, look, man, that kind of emotional grief, it's like it makes me physically sick. It makes my disease worse. And then they do something even worse. Not even, let me rephrase that. Then they listen to you cry for the first time in 29 years and are mean to you and call you names. It's like, it's not like I didn't tell her. So why would I go back into that? Or how do I fix that? You know? And it's like, sure, carrying around all that hatred and misery. And then I start thinking, like how much of my physical illness is due to these interactions with my family, if like this is an unusual disease in which emotional distress like ramps up the disease and makes the disease worse. It's like The average person, of course, anytime you get emotionally kicked in the stomach, it's going to hurt, but it actually could be a major contributing factor into why I'm so much more fucked up now than I was before. And there's precedent for that because in 2003, when I had that major deal with my dad, I remember like the whole way I walked changed. I had more pain. I had this like new pain in my left thigh that I never had before, and I began walking over like more bent at the waist to compensate for this new pain. I used to walk like, you know, more or less military posture, like straight up and down, and would walk everywhere. And I remember that winter specifically. It was the year we invaded Iraq, and the winter was very harsh around here in Ohio. So I remember walking around in the winter time and wishing it was warmer so I could walk more because that's what I always used to do whenever my leg hurt like that. The lighting in here is horrible, as usual. I'll never get the lighting right in here. I don't know if that helps or not. It's ridiculously bright out. Uh, Anyways, I think about all these things and I have far too much time to think about it. It's like, I always think like, what can I do? Or what did I do to put myself in this situation? And what can I do to get myself out of this situation or to make things better? And I don't really have a lot of answers for myself. But as usual, I digressed into other things. The reason why I'm even on here is because I said I would like televise uh, my phone interview with the psychiatric nurse, but I ended up canceling that, and I canceled that because uh, I canceled. I didn't cancel it. It's just the way it turned out. Is I didn't have. I parted ways with my psychologist, and the psychiatric nurse wants you to either be on drugs or to be talking to a psychologist. So I'm like, well, it's too dangerous for me to talk to a psychiatric nurse because they want you, like I said, drugs or a psychologist. They're, like the other one said, well, if you're not doing anything about your depression, you're not talking to anybody. Because I appease them more or less by talking to the psychologist. Um, so I don't want to make it any more trouble for me. Or me, I'm liable to say the wrong thing anyway, to where cops can come in here and just invade my house. Which brings me to another thing is like, I talked to my aid worker, and yeah, she was involved in a scenario like that, and it was literally the day before she came here. The last time she was here, we talked about it, and I pinned her down and made her like tell me the story in no uncertain terms. And what happened is there was this older lady that was on narcotics, as she put it, controlled substances, as they're aware that I'm off of controlled substances once I pick up my next refill, but they're aware that there might be controlled substances on the premises. So this old lady throws a hissy fit, claims that somebody stole her prescription, won't let the aid workers in there, so they called the cops, and the cops were waiting to barge into her house, but they talked sense into her, and they're like, look, let your aid workers in there, or the cops are going to come in. So it was the same day. It all happened like in the same day. So and the pretense they use is like, yeah, this lady's acting crazy and she has narcotics on the property. So yeah, that I got confirmation. Like, yeah, that happens. Because I sat there and I spent a large part of my time just hammering that story out. Because a lot of times when people tell a story, they don't understand what are the important details to you. That was the important detail to me. Is like, so there was cops outside, and because she was claiming that her narcotics were stolen and she was acting erratic, and they knew there was narcotics on the property, they were waiting. She's like, yeah, they're waiting. But she finally let the aid workers in, and then they told the cops everything was cool, and then the cops went home. So yeah, I don't want to put myself in any um, jeopardy like that. If I just felt better physically, I mean, I'm fairly like, you know, I carry a lot of stuff with me, a lot of emotional pain with me, but um, I'm fairly buoyant emotionally. But the physical stuff just wears me out. You know, the torture. The aid worker freaked out when she saw the back of my knee. I don't know what the back of my knee looks at like because it's kind of hard for me to look at the back of my knee. She was like, I've never seen anything like that in my life. I'm like, well, that's good because you're 68 and you've been working as an aid worker for 13 years. I don't like the fact that you're like, she's like, what the hell's wrong with the back of your knee? I'm like, I don't even know what the hell it looks like. Or she's like, she's like, it's all swollen and discolored and stuff. And like, she actually did some foot care with me for the first time, and she was like, and my feet were abominable looking. But she was like, "You're all black and blue around this right ankle, the ankle that I had the swelling around." The other foot was actually more swollen than the foot that I took the steroids for, and I got this funny like divot in my foot from when I broke the wine glass and stabbed myself in the foot in between the metacarpal bones with this long shard of glass. So I can always tell how swollen my foot is by how far, you know, because there'll be like a divot in my foot. So I'm like, oh, like a quarter inch swollen. I'm a half inch swollen. My foot was all swollen and discolored. It was relatively humiliating having somebody wash your feet and clip your toenails and stuff. But it makes more sense to me trying to do it because I make myself bleed sometimes because I can't reach my feet. So if I didn't have all these physical problems, which are still relatively new, you know, I think as late as 2018, because there's all this stuff's on video, you know, as of January 2018, like most of my life is on video. And I know there's a video of me on here where I'm actually able to. My electric bike died at the doctor's office, and I pushed it all the way home. I think I pissed a bunch of people off by calling it the Shroud of Turin or something like that because I was sweating so bad when I put a paper towel on my face, it like left the Shroud of Turin type imprint on it. But this whole thing where it's like the knee's really horrible is relatively new as far as like it's been going on only for a couple of years. Well, um, let's see, when was that? 2020 September 22nd is when that my knee took a turn for the worse when that Jeff Wilhelm guy Bennett. And then after that, you know, before that I was like walking around, but my leg was bent backwards and it was bad. But after that, it was really bad. So you know, it's all kind of a new thing, is what I'm saying, as far as not being able to like clipper my toenails and having trouble putting on my socks and all that stuff. As far as like the swelling in my knee and the lack of flexibility. Then the bad part is like having to exercise when you're, you know, cause she's like, you should move your feet around in that water, and I'm like, no, I shouldn't. It's like, yeah, it's really hard to work with something that really, really hurts. I mean, people hate exercise when the affected limbs don't hurt. It's hard to get people to exercise, let alone if the damn thing hurts already, and what you're doing with it hurts. It's yeah. And then like with the walking, as far as the walking is concerned, I'm likely to fall over. Um, that's like a bad balance thing. If you have like a fat gut and then your knees are bent backwards, it throws you all out of kilter. Is what I'm finding out. And it's, like I said, it's not like I eat that much. It's like my stomach's like, I don't know if that initial roar, it was like the MGM roar, and my stomach was the lion at the beginning of this video, just like the start of a movie. But the lighting in here is absolutely hideous. So I guess I got to put the board back up over the sheet. I thought the sheet would do it. It makes me look rather red in the face. But yeah, yeah, eh, that's pretty much it as far as like I've been brooding like way too much and thinking like way too much about my sister. It's like she won. If you have like dealings with somebody and they're like plaguing your thoughts and stuff, they won. That's what I was thinking a lot yesterday. I was like, she won. It's like I don't know what's going on in her head or whatever, but it's like I'm still thinking about her like almost 4 years after the fact. It'll be 4 years in December of this year. 3.5 years later, it was like, still thinking about it and still wondering like why that happened or what's going on with her. Like, yeah, it's still thinking about like if I fix that, will it make me healthier or like how will that help me? And then like I think also about the situation with my foster brother where I was just like, I'm just done with you, man. Just done with you. Done with all you people and all your nonsense. And I think about that. And then like yeah, I haven't heard from my friend in a while and haven't gone fishing. He said he just suggested, I wasn't gonna hold him to it, but he was like, I could take you like fishing like once a week, meaning down to that pond. But he's been going fishing other places that I can't go, so I wasn't gonna hold him to that anyway. Uh, I've also been having this crazy idea of um, getting my blue scooter out of here instead of asking him to haul it over to my brother's house. Just driving it over to my brother's house, like getting my aid worker to. I was like, I talked to her about it already. I was like, you ever ride um, one of those not tripod, what do they call them, 3-wheel type vehicles? And she's like, oh, I got a neighbor that's always trying to get me to ride something like that. They say it's fun. And I'm like, well, I just kind of need to get in a parking lot and figure out like how I can get it to accelerate safely, and then I can just go on like Sunday morning when there's almost no traffic on the main drag, and there's like just go on one road, and this one road goes all the way through from my city, Maslin, into Canton, where my brother lives, and then just drop it off at his house and call a cab from his house and go home. He already agreed to store it, and I don't care. I just kind of want it out of here. It takes up a lot of room that I don't have, and it just sits there and mocks me. So I think you need a license plate for it actually, because I think any vehicle that goes over 20 miles an hour, you need a license plate for. But I can get away with riding it. You know, I don't think a cop would stop me on a Sunday morning at like 4 o'clock in the morning if I rode it um, down the main drag. If they stopped me, they would probably be like understanding about it. I'd be like, look, I'm just dropping it off. I don't think they would like arrest me and impound me and go through all that trouble because they'd have to impound the vehicle. And yeah, but I just kind of want it out of here, and I want to do something interesting. That would be interesting, but I don't want to do something dangerous, which is yeah, that thing is fucking dangerous to me right now because I don't know how to ride it without getting it. I have to be able to learn how to ride it a little bit before I take it on a city to city venture. Just been think just been thinking about it. That doesn't mean I'm going to do it. Right now I'm just sick, so I don't know how long this is going to be or what this is about. I was thinking like I'm hoping the BPA doesn't call me this morning because they said they were going to schedule some tests for me, like an ultrasound. It's going to be in my home and stuff, but I really don't want bothered right now. I don't feel good, uh, and I'm quite miserable. And yeah, I don't want bothered, which they're pretty good about that as far as like a tell them, like, can we do it another day? But I kind of have to be on call for possible fishing trips and possible in-home tests. So, I need to sleep and get up at a decent hour, which I've been managing to do. And I need to tend to my hygiene and whatnot. Oh yeah, I didn't walk with my aid worker because I had her doing other things and I did not feel good that day. I was just, yeah. And she's easily distracted these days because she's still grieving and stuff, but I had her doing other stuff like tacking up that sheet over there. And I forget what else I had her doing. Then I just talked to her for a while. Um, uh, I do feel better today as far as I didn't wake up with, woke up with a normal headache instead of a splitting headache. My stomach is weird. It seems like I should eat something. Um, so I guess I'll go do that. But I thought, like, since I said I would do that, I should get on here and explain why. That's why I canceled the psychiatric nurse appointment, is because I don't want to get myself in trouble as far as, like, because I don't have a psychologist anymore. It's like I would have went ahead with the appointment, but I don't have a psychologist anymore. They'd be like, yeah, you missed your appointment with Paul there. And I'd be like, well, I'd explain how it happened, and they were like, so what's going on with you? And it would raise red flags. And it's like, why do I want to risk that? It doesn't make any sense. You know. So I decided to get it. And yeah, I did. I don't have a fever or anything, as far as I can tell. I mean, I didn't have a fever yesterday. Broke out the thermometer. Just, I don't know what's going on. Just don't feel all that good. And yeah, that's it. I don't really have anything else to talk about. And yeah, I'll try to be more entertaining next time around. Hopefully, I'll feel better. And hopefully, like, I can get outside tomorrow. My aid worker comes tomorrow, so maybe I can get outside. And I have to feel pretty good to mess with those scooters and stuff, but I would like to do that. And yeah, that way she can ride one scooter and I can ride the other. Well, I can ride the three-wheel scooter. She knows how to ride the four-wheel scooter. Anybody can ride one of those things. And we can ride them both down to this parking lot that's a church. It's between a dentist's office and not a church, but a school. It's this big parking lot that's pretty empty. If I can get them, that was my goal when I originally crashed the scooter, was to get the scooter into that parking lot and then ride around that parking lot. But I never made it to the parking lot because I accelerated into a car. But if I can, um, yeah, she's pretty spry, so I can probably, I had to, like, turn up the throttle in order to get it into the road because it was going to, it's really slow when it's idled all the way down. And then, like, I barely bumped up the throttle and it thrust me out into the road. And I was like, okay, well, I'm out in the road. And I was like, I'll go this way and I'll take the alley up here. And, so I turned the throttle back up and boom, smashed into a car. Got a deep thigh bruise, damaged one of the handles on my scooter, so it droops down when the armrests, not the handle, the armrest, so it droops down because it smashed into this car. I was just wanted to get it back inside and never took it back out again because I was like, it's likely to happen again. But if I have somebody with me, yeah, they can, like, just, yeah, if something happens, they'll be there. And, like, also, um, I can keep it like idle all the way down and just like crawl up the road. And yeah, it could work. Like each of us ride a scooter to the parking lot and then swap scooters. And then I like try to open it up a little bit to where I can get figure out how to steer it, keep it straight. Because all I gotta do is get on like one road and keep it straight for about, I don't know, 8-10 miles. The cities are pretty close. I don't know how many miles. But I did it on an electric bike before, and I remember it. The electric bike topped out at around 20 miles an hour, and it got t- I got tired like holding my head up because you're leaning over on a bike, right? So my neck got tired. So it's a pretty good distance. I don't know exactly how far, but yeah, that would do me some good. I need an adventure, and that would do me some good to get that out of here. I mean, I'm concentrating on walking. I don't really use that scooter for anything. And if I get to my brother's neighborhood, I can uh, get my friend to drive me over there and then practice riding it around my brother's neighborhood and get better with it to where I can, just get used to it. It's an idea. Anyways, I'm going to get my boring ass off here, and I'll talk to y'all later. Goodbye.